Today, we're going to talk about one of the most interesting and my favorite types of attacks, social engineering. Now, for those who say, don't just talk, show us how it's done, let me remind you, this is YouTube. I can't show hacking techniques here, but if you're curious, you can always search for more on Google. So let's get into social engineering. For those of you who don't know social engineering is basically the art of manipulating people to give away sensitive information. Attackers use this information to carry out harmful actions, like stealing data or breaking into systems. The crazy thing is, even if a company has all the right security in place, social engineering can bypass it entirely by targeting the weakest link, people. Most of the time, employees don't even realize they're doing something wrong. It could be something as simple as answering a stranger's question or clicking on a spam email. And that's exactly what attackers count on. They spend time learning how to trick people so well that the victims might not even realize they've been scammed. Attackers put a lot of effort into this. They study their target carefully, figuring out who works at the company and even observing things like security guards or receptionists. They know people tend to trust appearances, like assuming someone in a uniform with a bunch of packages is a delivery person. That trust is what they exploit to get what they want, whether it's passwords, confidential plans, or access to systems. To pull off a successful attack, they usually follow a process. First, they research the company, gathering as much information as possible, like its location, what it does, and even employee details. They might check the website, search online, or even dig through trash to find useful info. Once they have enough background, they pick a specific target, usually someone they think will be easy to manipulate, like a disgruntled employee. After that, they work on building a relationship with that person, earning their trust through casual conversations or pretending to be someone they're not. And finally, when the time is right, they take advantage of that trust to get the information they need, whether it's financial details, system access, or upcoming plans. It's all about exploiting human vulnerability, and that's what makes social engineering so effective. Social engineering attacks can be grouped into three main categories: human-based, computer-based, and mobile-based. Let's break down each one. Let's start with some human-based social engineering techniques. These rely entirely on interacting with people to trick them into giving away sensitive information. This could be something like pretending to be a coworker or authority figure to gain trust. For example, an attacker might call an employee, act like IT support, and ask for their login details. One of the most common is impersonation. This is when an attacker pretends to be someone they're not, like an employee, a delivery person, or even a tech support agent, to gain trust and access sensitive information. They might use tricks like rummaging through desks, listening in on conversations, or even watching people type passwords. For example, an attacker could call pretending to be from IT, saying something like, "Hi, this is David from tech support. We're fixing a system issue. Can you share your password so we can help you?" Many people fall for this because it sounds legitimate. Another example is pretending to be an important user, like a manager or executive. People often hesitate to question authority, so attackers might say something like, "This is Sarah, the CFO's assistant. I urgently need access to this system. Can you help?" Attackers may also dress up as contractors, clients, or repair personnel to blend in and move around unnoticed. They use the opportunity to gather information from desks, trash bins, or overheard conversations. The key here is that these attackers exploit trust and human nature to get what they want. It's all about making people believe they're legitimate. Let's talk about vishing, or voice phishing. This is when attackers use phone calls or VoIP to trick people into sharing sensitive information, like financial details or login credentials. They often use caller ID spoofing to make it look like they're calling from a trusted source, like a bank or company. For example, an attacker might send a fake SMS or email asking the victim to call a number for account verification. When the victim calls, they hear a professional-sounding pre-recorded message asking for personal details like account numbers or passwords. Once the victim shares the information, the attacker uses it for fraud. Help desks are common targets for vishing because staff are trained to be helpful. From phone lists to email printouts, even something as simple as an event note could give them enough information to plan their next move. There are so many human-based attacks I could go on about all day, but I don't want to drag this out and make the video boring. What you need to know is that human-based social engineering is all about interacting with people and tricking them into giving away sensitive information. All right, let's talk about computer-based social engineering attacks. These attacks use technology to trick people, and they can come in the form of phishing emails, fake websites, or malicious software. One of the most common and dangerous attacks is phishing. Phishing is when an attacker sends an email or provides a link that looks like it's from a legitimate source, like your bank or an online store, to trick you into giving up personal information. Phishing is so effective because many users don't notice the small signs that the site isn't real, like a slightly different URL or missing security indicators. Today, with more people using internet banking and shopping online, phishing attacks have become a huge risk. There are also several different types of phishing, such as spear phishing. It is like targeting a specific person. Whaling, it is when targeting high-profile individuals. Farming, it is all about redirecting users to fake websites, and even clone phishing, where a real email is copied and altered to include malicious links. Other types include smishing. It is phishing via SMS, tab-nabbing, reverse tab-nabbing, consent phishing, and search engine phishing. Phishing is one of the most effective computer-based attacks because it preys on human trust and curiosity. All right, let's take a look at some phishing tools that attackers use. One of the most popular phishing tools is Shellfish. This tool is used to steal user credentials from social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. It also collects a ton of information about the victim's system, including their public IP address, browser details, host name, geolocation, and more. With this data, attackers can impersonate legitimate organizations and launch further attacks. Another widely used tool is the Social Engineering Toolkit, SET. SET is an open-source tool built using Python, and it's designed specifically for penetration testing using social engineering. It helps attackers perform advanced attacks that exploit human nature to trick people into sharing sensitive information. SET includes various attack methods like email, web, and USB-based attacks, targeting human weaknesses like trust, fear, greed, or the desire to help. There's also Zphisher, which is another phishing tool used for generating phishing pages. These are just a few examples, but there are plenty of phishing tools out there. For now, these should give you a good starting point to understand how attackers are using these tools to manipulate people and steal information. Always stay aware of the risks and be cautious online. Attackers use clever tricks to manipulate and steal sensitive information. On computers, they use pop-ups, fake warnings, and spam emails to trick you into downloading malware or revealing login details. Ever seen a "your computer is infected" pop-up? That's scareware, trying to make you panic and install more malware. Social media is another hotspot. Attackers might impersonate friends or customer support through fake profiles. In angler phishing, they pretend to help upset users by sharing fake links, stealing info instead. Or in catfishing, they create fake profiles to manipulate people emotionally or financially. Then, there's identity theft, stealing personal data like your name, social security number, or bank info. They use this to open accounts, clone debit cards, or even file fake tax returns. Now, let's talk about mobile-based social engineering. These attacks target people through their smartphones or other mobile devices. One of the most common techniques attackers use is publishing malicious apps. Here's how it works. The attacker creates a fake app, maybe something like a gaming app with a cool feature that catches your eye. They'll then publish it on major app stores, using popular names to make it look trustworthy. Unknowingly, a user downloads the app thinking it's legit, but once it's installed, it infects the phone with malware. This malware then sends the user's personal info, like usernames, passwords, contact details, and other sensitive data, straight to the attacker. It's a sneaky way to steal your data without you even realizing it. Another trick they use is repackaging legitimate apps. Here's how it goes. Legitimate developers create real apps, like a popular gaming app, and those apps get listed in trusted app stores. Users can browse through these apps and download them thinking they're safe. But sometimes, a malicious developer will take one of these legit apps, modify it, and add malware to it. Then they upload the repackaged app to a third-party store. Once a user downloads it, the malware gets installed on their phone. From there, it collects all sorts of personal information and sends it straight to the attacker. So, it might look like you're just downloading a game, but you're actually inviting malware onto your phone. Lastly, there's QRL jacking, which is a social engineering attack that targets the QR code login method used by many web applications. In QRL jacking, attackers hijack a victim's login session and gain unauthorized access to their accounts, stealing stored data in the process. They also gather sensitive information like the victim's GPS location, device ID, IMEI, and SIM card details, which they can use for illegal activities like making unauthorized transactions, impersonating the victim, or sending spam messages. Here's how the attack works. The attacker first obtains legitimate QR codes from a web service by pretending to be a valid user. They then clone the QR code and create a phishing web page containing the fake code. Using a script, they ensure that the malicious QR code refreshes once it expires. The attacker then sends the victim a link to this phishing page, tricking them into scanning the fake QR code. When the victim scans the code with their mobile device, their login credentials and device information are sent to the attacker's server. This allows the attacker to log in as the victim and gain access to their account. Tools like QR Tiger are commonly used to clone legitimate QR codes for these attacks. QR Tiger can generate both static and dynamic QR codes, and attackers can use it to track scans, collecting data like when and where the victim scanned the code and what device was used. Alright, let's end this video by talking about how to protect yourself from social engineering attacks. It's all about staying aware and taking a few key steps to keep your info safe. Here's what you can do. First, stay cautious with unexpected messages. If you get an email or text asking for personal info, don't rush. Verify it through official channels. Look for red flags in messages, odd spelling, strange links, or unexpected attachments. Always hover over links before clicking. Keep your devices and software updated to fix security gaps. Use multi-factor authentication to add an extra layer of protection. Be mindful of what you share on social media. Attackers can use your posts against you. Set your profiles to private. Use strong, unique passwords for every account, and consider a password manager. Verify QR codes before scanning them. Stick to trusted sources. Install anti-malware software to block threats before they harm your system. Finally, never share sensitive info unless you're sure the request is legitimate. And following these simple steps, you can make it a lot harder for attackers to get to your personal info. Just remember, always verify, take your time, and trust your gut. Stay safe.